Start streaming? Okay. Right, cool. Okay. So, I'm trying to be real... Oh god. Real quick. This panel starts in 8 minutes. Oh god. God, I'm having so much issue with the camera controls. Okay, that should be fine. Cool, I'll put that there. Then y'all can see me. Nice. Okay, cool. So this is just gonna be like an hour at most. And I am somehow not logged in to Furality. Meetups, events. Okay, the I Wait story. Okay, cool. The 3-point whoa. You'll say whoa every time. Super absorbent layers. Okay, that panel is going to be starting soon. May my cameras be bitchin' and your LS be few. Thank you. Okay. And let me set up camera 2, which is... Hi. Just the one that faces me. I keep sticking out my tongue. Okay, that should be set up properly. Behavior, I want that to auto level and smooth. Cool. Okay, then that should be anchored me? Yes, it is. Let me double check the first one is as well. It is not. Yeah, anchored to me, so there's that, and then just my handheld. Oh god. Sorry, I gotta smooth that. My handheld. Okay. Okay. Cool. Hi, everybody. Plan to cut down on bullying by 50%? That's good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, this stream's only going to be like an hour. All of the Furality events got pushed back half an hour. So I was able to finish the setup over at the farmer's market that I'm volunteering at. And then the whole middle part of just nothing happening. So I just came home. It's down the street, so, 5-minute walk. And then when I got back, all of the events had been pushed forward half an hour, which is godsend, because I could, lay down for a little bit before starting the... Because they just helped set up a farmer's market. So, yeah. It is great to be back for y'all. Alright. That camera is in a slightly weird place. Let me... move it a little bit. There we go. Now it's looking right at me. Cool. Alrighty. Then if we're gonna go back to over-the-shoulder mode, I'm gonna beat up these little guys. I am an agent of cruelty. Anyway. And let's see if it'll let me in the event. This event will be live streamed in-game and on Twitch, and I can join the room. Oh. I hit the button twice. Okay. Okay. Did I set up my thing right? Is it? Yeah, it's still using my headset as the thing. Okay, cool. I'm joining. Okay. So as far as I know, this is mostly just like a video that's playing to people. That's fine. I'm gonna need to sit up front. Okay.
So when I joined you at the Tatum meetup, it crashed. Because I had the shields on, and then I turned the shields off. And
This doesn't have any kind of colliders for me to sit on. I'm just in the thing. Alright, I'm gonna spend this first couple minutes positioning my camera. And things are gonna be laggy.
You good? You comfy? Alright. I'm good. They haven't started it yet, have they? Not yet. We're early. I can kind of sit up here. It'll start in like a minute here.
Oh? Okay, I'm gonna be watching this from a really low angle, and basically just providing commentary throughout. Should be auto-leveled. Okay, cool. And I'm probably gonna be watching on my little camera here, because otherwise I don't know if I'll be able to see it properly from my perspective. Oh my god, game player 1. Also, I can hear vacuuming happening in the other room. Which is ridiculous. But it looks like it's not picking up on my mic, so I can always rewatch this later. Oh hey, the Stream Elements avatar is all rainbow. Nice. Yeah, y'all, this is basically gonna be the thing. You're gonna get my live homosexual reaction. Let me see if I can angle it a little better. I can't. Okay, cool. Yeah, I am really excited for this.
Because
The Mystery Science Theater dreams have been realized. Oh, I should make a little, like, cardboard cutout for that with my robot character. The, like, silhouetted view.
Doesn't actually work, and it says that we're still in the previous area.
I might have to mute all the players in the instance.
Did you try refreshing it?
Oh man, why everything gets so bright?
I don't think we put enough seats in this area.
What?
I don't think we have enough seats here.
Oh, see.
Okay, there's just a button I can hit called earmuff mode that cancels out everyone else's speech. But as long as I don't forget I have that on. Oh, and I keep lagging out. Yeah, I'm just gonna be hanging out inside of the fucking chair. And that'll be fine. Oh, Ria's got the popcorn. It looks so weird on my hand. Then, yep, there's my, camera. I wish I could set up, like, multiple cameras. So I could, show my own face, and also the stuff happening. Oh, I can hear shutter clicks.
But I can't find more photos to take.
Okay, I should be able to hear audio in the actual world. Ria, I will end you if you eat that popcorn loudly. I will not take that injustice. God damn it, Ria. I can't believe you. Let me see if I can find a Mystery Science Theater overlay. Alright, well, I've accidentally closed the schedule. I've accidentally minimized the schedule. My hand is too shaky for this. Yeah, after this event, I'm going to be hopping off, going back to the farmer's market, doing some shopping, and helping to close up. Actually, I probably won't do some shopping today, because I don't have money. I'm pretty sure it won't, because I can still hear, like, the music in the world. So, you know. But then I will be back online around 6:30 for Avatars and OSC with Spooter. Because that will be right after the farmer's market ends. Hopefully we'll have everything closed up by like 6:15. I'll be back here. I'll be booting everything up like immediately. Then there is a D&D meetup, and I'll be going to that like halfway through it. Then attending the opening ceremonies. Then there is Building Better VRChat Worlds, and I will be taking a break after that because my headset will need to recharge. So expect an hour's break, 9:30 to 10 to 11, where I'll then be going to the online Twitch streamer meetup. Then there is a few other things going on. Not a ton I am immediately excited for. Like, oh, there is a Actually game show at 10 that I might like to be there for, but it should also be Twitch streamed, so. Yeah, Twitch streamer meetup, and I think I'll just keep going to meetups. Honestly. I forgot to say yesterday, but when I was talking about learning to make games, I know you have a friend you have named Araya making a video series for game programming. Nice. If you link that in my Discord, I'll probably watch it. Dang, this is starting a little late. Let me un-earmuff.
3 months
No.
Be prepared.
I'm making Geet's fursuit. If you punch me in the stomach, I'll mess it up. Then how?
Go ahead.
Okay, that was immediately loud. There's a chance I'll need to rejoin the instance like the other day. Let me... Oh!
Hello, everybody. Welcome
Hey.
to my panel. It's a bit of a rainy day, but I'm sure that'll clear up in just a bit. This is my panel. It's an introduction to Avatars 3.0. My name, myself, is Echo Songen. You can call me Echo. I've been playing VRChat since about late 2019. Early 2020. I've been tinkering with avatars for a little bit longer than that. I actually joined the Furality team with the first event. I'm their one of their support specialists among a couple of other roles. And I really want to teach you a little bit about
Amateur of
the
3 years.
concepts of Avatar 3.0 so that you can all go out and create some amazing stuff. So first off,
Ooh, they're having fun with their
this
mic.
panel is primarily just going to be covering some of the basic concepts. This is solidly stuff that is in Unity. I'm not going to be talking about Blender, not going to be talking about animations. And it's all going to be about the ways you can make the stuff on the left do the stuff on the right. But if you're looking for a panel about the making of the actual content, I'm sorry. Maybe stick around in an event instance, and I'll be jumping around a bit afterwards, and might be able to point you towards some resources for that.
They're actually using a very interesting
I
tech
do
to get this
put down
guy
sound control
into this
here.
world.
It's also known as OSC. But really, this is a panel entirely. It's way too much to cover in a panel all by like it's all entirely its own thing. You can maybe catch the panel that's actually a little bit later about Spooter as an example of something that you can do with OSC. But understand
we should be going to that
basically straight software development and can't quite teach that in an hour. If you do have any questions while this panel is happening, please head over to our Discord. There should be a channel set up called, I think it was Avatars 3 Q&A, and ask your questions in there. And I'll see about covering those a little bit later. So, the Unity Animator Controller. So this is the big topic here, and it's the main source of the logic of how your avatar decides on doing things that you want it to do. Or in some cases, how it decides to do the things you don't want it to do, because like all programming, it will do
probably
exactly
the Game Changers thing.
what you tell it to do. And just like programming, it can get a little bit messy. There are tools for keeping it clean.
Oh God!
But sometimes it does kind of have to be this way. But it's fine if you understand it. That's mainly what's going to matter. So what is an animator controller? The easiest way to describe that is it's just a bunch of flowcharts that tell animations to run. With each layer of the controller telling the avatar to animate in a particular way.
I'm sure someone got a screenshot of that slide.
You have to be careful animating the same things on multiple layers. But don't let that stop you from, overdriving your blend shapes accidentally. It'll be fine. The basic gist is that you have layers, and each layer is a collection of states and transitions, and each of those layers can only be in a single state at a time, which activates a single animation. And with transitions facilitating the movement between those states like a logic gate. So starting at the very top, let's talk about those layers. These are what contain the logic of the controller, and you may not touch the settings of these a whole lot. They're a bit of an advanced topic, except for when you first create a layer, which is when you will immediately,
hearing all the cameras going
without
off.
question, set the layer weight to 1. Do not forget to do this, because if you don't do it, nothing on that layer will work. People in the control room know what I'm talking about, and you will be very confused until someone points out that your layer has no weight.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it won't be doing anything. You'll be like, why? But now that your layer weight is set to 1, let's put some stuff into those layers. And the first thing you'll be working on is states. And the best way to think about these is that they represent an animation. Whatever state the layer is currently in plays the animation within that state, as long as it's there. It doesn't have to have an animation in it, but they usually do, and that's the way that the animations are played. States also feature some very useful settings that you might want to play around with, like changing how quickly the animation plays, or if the animation plays mirrored. There's also some special stuff in there that VRChat provides called state behaviors. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But to get between your states, we want to use transitions. These are actually pretty fancy in that they will tween between the animations that you're moving in the states that you're moving between. So, like, instead of going from angry to happy instantly, there's a sort of implied animation that's created between the two states, which you'll have quite a lot of control
Oh,
over.
yeah. I've
But
heard
in order
of
for you
that.
to go through the right transitions at the right time, you'll need to set up at least one condition. Otherwise, the active state will just move around over and over, and people will think you're a cryptid. Not one of the cool cryptids either, unfortunately. The conditions are
Like that one from the Rockies
the
that weeps
way
all the time.
to test and go through those transitions. So if a condition is true, then do such and such animation. Is my hat parameter true? Then show my hat. Is my gesture value less than 5? Then don't change my expression. This forms the base of all of the decision making that your avatar goes through. Even on an avatar that doesn't use any custom animator controllers, even just the default animations are all controlled by making decisions based on what VRChat knows you're doing, what your VRChat client knows you're doing, like moving or using a hand gesture. And all of that is possible because we have parameters. This is the last basic thing to talk about. They're just variable values that your transitions can read through its conditions.
More like
And
cryptids,
your
am I
action
right?
menu can change through its controls. There are 3 types of them. The Boolean or Boolean if you actually are a cryptid. Then the basic numbers, which are integers. And then you have the deluxe numbers, which are floats, short for floating point numbers or just a decimal number.
Oh, I love normal number
You can
and
think of
advanced
these
number.
parameters just as the data that goes in, and then everything else gets the animations out based on those parameters. And if you ping me in the panel's Discord channel right now,
Oh god.
I will give you a ton of free parameters just for free, just for being a fan. Ping me in that channel right now. Maybe now the community team don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Also, I mean, you get these parameters for free anyway because they're actually VRChat's built-in parameters, which they have helpfully
I just checked
listed in the
the
VRChat
Discord
docs.
channel. It says several people are typing.
Also, read the docs. Please read the docs. They're super handy.
I have not
I
read the
usually end up
docs.
bringing them up like every time I'm working on my avatar. Just because there's so much good information in there.
You don't need to read the docs.
Some
It's
of the
fine.
most useful examples of these built-in parameters are your left
I
and
can't read
right
anything on
hand
that,
gesture
but
value,
my screen is smaller than yours.
your actual velocity when you're moving around, how upright you are, or in the case of a late Saturday night in Club Fin, how upright you aren't, your active vising when you're talking, if you're AFK, if you're muted. Honestly, just literally just go read the docs. This is just a small snippet of what's on.
So many cameras.
They're
Sorry,
literally
all those
the
red
best
lines you
friends.
just saw are
Lots
camera
of useful
position.
reference information there that you'll probably want to know at some point. But besides the
Show that again
parameters
real
that
quick.
VRChat gives us, we can also make our own parameters. VRChat lets you sync up to 256 bits of parameters across the network, which means that everyone in the world will sync up with your parameter values. And that means you can have up to 256 booleans, or up to 32 integers or floats. which is actually quite a bit. And outside of doing like face tracking, you're probably not likely to fill this space. But feel free to prove me wrong, right?
I will.
That's it for
Fuck you.
the most basic of concepts, working with avatars. And just what I've covered can be used in such an incredible number of creative ways.
The only thing I do you see is you? Alright.
Absolutely a
Fuck
greater
you.
than the sum of its parts. If you ask me how to do something, there's a pretty good chance I might be able to find a way to do it with just this stuff. The only thing that you'll need to learn beyond this is making simple animations or visual effects to put into your controllers, and a little bit of the action menu, which is mostly self-explanatory, but again, of course, the docs cover what each thing does and how to use it in such a great way that I'm just gonna say, go look at the docs again. Like it's so handy. But then along came Avatar Dynamics. Another really big update to avatars that has made things even crazier, because people are still just scratching the surface of what you can do with this sort of thing. I've already
I only
seen
just got
some
the advanced
crazy
options
stuff being
thing today.
avatars, and it's absolutely wild. There's still so much more to think about with it. There's really only two things that make up Avatar Dynamics 2. The first being fizz bones. So most people just call them fizz bones. They replaced the older system of dynamic bone movement called dynamic bones. And quick shout out to Will Hong. He's the person who made it. Sorry that your Unity store income has gone absolutely down, but fizz bones are just so.
So if you want to be more of a
optimized that
Mr.
I think
Crow
you can
T
have
robot
around
figure or a
5
Statler
to
and
10
Waldorf type
times
side
more of them
character?
compared to dynamic
Both are
bones,
good.
which is why I believe that they are being phased out.
I know more about
If
Statler
you
and
didn't know
Waldorf,
that,
though.
then surprise. I'm pretty sure VRChat said that they would somewhere. Fizz bones are just straight out better anyway. Just use fizz bones. They're not that bad. They do look intimidating to work with. There's a great graphic out there, if you ask me about it, that can help you kind of understand what all of the forces do. But in reality, it is a little bit complex. Again, read the docs. The docs will have all of that reference information there. The docs will never let you down, I guarantee it. But besides just making your avatar more organic, you get to interact with fizz bones, other people even. You can set them up to be grabbed, stretched, posed. They even create their own parameters that you can read, and the component has a little bit more information on how to use these. But the big thing is that you don't even need to add these to your custom parameters. They're actually synced just by virtue of everybody is always processing that sort of thing, just on their own machine. So you don't need to sync that across the network, right? This is also true of the other part of the Avatar Dynamics, which is contacts.
I mean, they kind of are. Now, if you
And
remember
these
that
interact
protogen
in
with the
pairs.
stretchy
You have
arms that we
a
met the other day,
sender
they were
and a
using fizz
receiver
bones for that.
to produce more input for your controllers. And what a contact is just this invisible ball or capsule that either emits a signal or it receives a signal. Obviously, the first thing I had to do was make a head pat detector. So feel free to give me some head pats. But you'll also want to ask me for a high five if you see me. I have a fun little high five there. But because it's pretty safe to assume that we mostly all have hands and heads and feet, VRChat actually makes each of those bones into a contact sender by default. So you don't need to send up a contact sender on your hand to be able to head pat people or give them a high five. You just need to set up a receiver that looks for the hand signal.
That's really cool.
There's even a proximity sensor setting for contacts that lets you tell how close the closest signal is to the center of that contact.
Well, to say, I love that a lot of these revolutions in avatar creation are being led by
A few more
furries.
things I wanted to cover before I close out. I do have a few more advanced things I want to tease you on, just because enticing you to learn more is probably the best way to get you to actually want to learn. I can't force you to learn, of course, but maybe I can at least pique your interest, maybe. I didn't mention it before, but your avatar actually has five of these animator controllers. I don't mention it because we'll probably only be working with just the one of them, and that is the effects layer, which is all the way on top of the stack. The effects layer should only have animations in it that don't affect transform animations, like moving bones around.
Yes, I believe so.
Theoretically,
Rhea. I'm
this
pretty sure it
isn't
does.
enforced. I'm absolutely breaking this rule myself right now, but theoretically speaking, the rest in descending order are the action layer, which is for animations that take full control of your avatar. So, emotes, dancing, anything like that. Then you have the gesture layer for gesture-based transform animations. Not your facial expressions if they use blend shapes to make the facial expression, which most avatars do this. The only reason why is because they won't actually show up in the mirror if you do put them there. Theoretically, they will actually still work, just it won't be reflected in mirrors. It's also for the gesture layer is also for idle animations that use non-human body parts. So like a tail, big ears, that sort of thing.
Yeah, the big screen is just playing the Twitch stream that Furality is streaming.
Idle animations, you want to use the additive layer. And then the last layer right at the bottom is the locomotion layer.
Which is why they don't have a slideshow. They have
related to movement, so walking around, running.
Actually, the version of them that you see standing there is actually a
to see how
live, like 3D video. He's only giving this presentation once to an empty room.
The other advanced thing, of course, you can't talk about avatar stuff without talking about OSC.
The bird we're seeing here is using
before, I wanted to mention this because it lets you do literally anything even harder than before, because it's external software controlling your VRChat avatar. The big use for this, of course, is bridging the gap between face trackers or other VR equipment and VRChat.
Avatars and OSC is going to be the next panel we're attending.
Actually, no, you do
at
still need
6:30.
to do eye tracking as well, but face tracking, eye tracking, getting those bridged to VRChat. But there's way too much you can do with it.
Oh, there's a Discord channel
I can't
that they're going to be taking questions from.
Because it's an entire panel of its own.
Or they're going to be fed questions from the community.
It's honestly more than that, because like I said, it's straight software development. There's actually a panel, like I said, there's a panel on Scooter, which is an implementation.
Yeah, they're basically having their 3D avatars streamed to multiple different instances.
Streamers out there.
It's really cool tech. I wish I understood
that comes up in just a couple of hours.
And that's mostly because if everyone wanted to be in the same room, then it would quickly crash the instance.
If you want to include some, randomization in your avatars, or you want to have an avatar parameter that actually gives you a random number that you can then sync up across the network. The avatar parameter driver is what you're looking for. And that would just go on a state and activate as soon as you enter that state. Animator tracking control might be another one you'll find useful if you are animating like your eyes for any reason. Or if you want to you'll see this used mostly in the action layer to take tracking away from your avatar.
Oh yeah,
to
the
do
ultra
an
kill butt
animation
plug
that
support. I
uses,
forgot about
you know,
that.
all the entire body. Another thing to look. This is just another thing that you can look at the docs for. There's a couple of other ones that are very useful. Again, give me a high five sometime, or 10 high fives, and you'll see. But the last thing I'm going to talk about that might be slightly controversial, but just use right defaults when you're starting out and you're just making, you know, some simple facial expressions. I guarantee you there's people out there right now saying I'm dumb for saying this, and they're right. And VRChat doesn't recommend it, but that's because they're professionals. I tried not using it early on, and wasn't a mistake because I did learn a lot, but I did have a bit of a bad time because I was just starting out and was like, why is my stuff not animating properly? Why is it stuck like this? The explanation as to why you would or wouldn't want to use it is a lot more technical. So just use it. Well, if all you want to do is set up some facial expressions and you don't mind a little bit of wonkiness, it's not going to be that bad. And then discover what it does and figure out how to work without it. But I believe that is it. I do have a fair bit of extra time. So if there's any questions, let me actually bring up the channel here, and I'll see if I can answer some of your questions here.
Yeah, they've got an extra half hour on this panel.
I swear it's in here.
I don't have any questions. I don't think I know enough to have questions properly.
Let me bring that a little
I'm
bit more
sure I'll
up
learn something
front
from other
here.
people's.
All right.
Someone's asked,
quick
what's
question I see
right
from Gustav.
default?
Can the
I'm hoping
PowerPoint
they
be
answer
shared?
that.
100%. I will post the PowerPoint in the channel as soon as I get a moment.
How is he doing this live?
I'm a little bit busy, but I'll find the time to get the PowerPoint shared in the channel.
The presentation world that he's standing in has a sort of invisible box set up around the thing that is constantly capturing PNGs of his avatar moving. If he were to move too far to one side, he would suddenly stop existing. And then it is beaming that effectively 3D video file to all of the instances where people are watching.
Let's take a look and see. Oh my god!
I don't quite understand it past that.
Okay.
But
worry, I'll give you those parameters for absolutely free.
Yeah. It's
absolutely free.
I think a kind of new technology.
Never mind.
Maybe it's been around for a year, but
ePhantom, thank you so much.
One of the hallmarks you can see is that,
that page for your
the guy in front of us has that black outline, but his actual avatar doesn't.
So
you can mistake it for his avatar having cell shading on it, but you can see it's not that.
Asking, is coding needed for dynamics or parameters? If so, what's the best coding language?
What's the best coding language? Oh god.
Animator controllers aren't any specific language. It is its own thing that Unity uses. They can just jump into an animator, like create a new animator controller in Unity, and then jump into the animator tab that you might have to pull out.
And that's how I understand how he's doing this live, to my understanding. I'm sure it's more complex.
There's a key combination for it. I'll see if I can find it, but you don't need to know any coding to do any avatar dynamics or any sort of avatar work. It's all just built into Unity. But I do recommend, if you do have coding experience, you'll probably find it fairly straightforward.
I don't have coding experience.
What happens if your Unity crashes during mid parameters making? Should you
Sure,
need
I'll be
to do it
fine.
all over again, or will it automatically keep where you had it? Luckily, I believe since it's not linked to the scene, this does end up saving each time you make
Brain
changes.
fuck.
So if your Unity crashes,
That's the Arnold Schwarzenegger
it
one,
doesn't
wherein you can only code in Arnold
probably
Schwarzenegger
not
quotes.
lose any progress on your controllers, which is a good thing. Mr.
That's
Sloth
the
had
true
another
best
question.
language.
How hard would it be to learn for a person who has no Unity experience to learn parameters? And what advice do you have for beginners? So, I think it's fairly straightforward, honestly. But that's the software development background of mine talking. All it really is if you like understand like how to write an if statement in a programming language.
Oh, I just got hit with someone's tail.
That's just what a transition is. You take the parameters, which are your variables, and plug them into a transition, which is your if statement. And then the then part of the if statement is the next state that you're going to. It is all relatively straightforward. I believe anybody can do some simple stuff with avatars. So definitely give it a try. Look up some tutorials. There's somebody on YouTube that I recommend by the name of Sipbox with 2 P's. They have fantastic, like very, very fast-paced tutorials, so don't be afraid to pause them as you follow along. But it just goes over some like how to do some basic stuff, and anybody can really do it. Will the slide be posted after panel ends? Yes, I can confirm that. Dumb question, what's right defaults? I don't think I'm qualified to answer this question, but right defaults basically grabs like a snapshot of what I believe how it works is it grabs a snapshot of like where things are before you animate them, and then sends them back to that position.
Oh, that's really useful.
You're done animating them. It does seem to be a little bit finicky sometimes with blend shapes. I know when I used to use blend shapes that used right defaults, they wouldn't animate entirely back to default after I was done with them, which caused, it's a little bit of wonkiness, but that's kind of the basic gist of what right defaults even is.
Taking a lot of photos of this bird.
It's not very well explained, I'm sorry, but that's my basic anecdotal understanding of it. We have, thank you, Amber Lambda, for
someone found the Sipbox tutorials.
Red Iron asks, Avatars 3.0 has an insane amount of potential, but are there any
or
hard
VCC
limits on
for
things
sure.
you can't or should not do? I'm not going to say there's hard limits.
I opened the tutorial he recommended.
To try and optimize your animator controllers as much as possible, because they do have a performance impact. It isn't super large, but you do need to be aware that if you're doing a lot of things, it may have an impact on performance for other people and yourself. The hard limits, I think, is just the hard limit of like how many parameters you can sync across the network. Again, 256 bits, which is, surprisingly a lot. Like, I don't know anybody who has 200 toggles on their avatar, because that would make their avatar way too big.
I've got one with 30.
If you find any sort of hard limit,
at least I'm
please let
pretty
me know.
sure.
That would be interesting if you run up on that at all.
I don't remember the exact count.
Let's see what else we have. What's the difference between an int and a float, and what would you use those for? That's a great question. An integer and a float are kind of the same thing in that they are both a number. Integers can only be whole numbers, though. So 1 through, I think, 256, 255, rather. And then floats range from negative 1.0 to positive 1.0. You would use an integer for anything that doesn't need like that amount of precision to it.
This man's blowing on his
where,
mic.
You know, the gesture, your left and right hand gestures.
Get this man a
use
pop filter.
an integer to tell your avatar which hand gesture you're making. You know, victory, finger gun, rock and roll, and that's just a single number that it passes on to your avatar. A float is something that you would use in situations where you want kind of a precision to it, where you actually have a parameter from VRChat called left gesture weight and right gesture weight, which actually uses the
Oh my god.
the trigger on your
Spitting so much
controllers,
fire he needs to blow on his mic.
to
No, just regular spitting.
tell VRChat how much the controller or the trigger is pressed on your controller. That's actually a very handy thing to do if you want to like animate something very step by step kind of thing. Some of the action menu controls do use floats to control the spinny, I think the spinny wheel one that uses the float, as well as the actual like for two-directional controller. Uses two floats to tell how much your stick is tilted. So anything that needs a little more precision to it, you'd probably use a float for. Let's see what other questions we have. Toggles. Soups asks, toggles, how does one do? So toggles are basically two states and two transitions. That's pretty much all there is to it. I'll see if I can explain it a little bit more with like a picture. Sorry, I'm a bird. But the basic gist is you have two states, one that's on, one that's off, and then it would have a Boolean parameter that would determine which state it's in. So you'd have the transition that goes between them, so that like when it's on, it goes into the on state, and when it's off, it goes into the off state. That's probably one of the first things that I even did with avatars.
It's possible to
3.0
run
when it
up
first
onto
came
the
out was,
stage, but
how do I
my
set
thing
up
doesn't
something
render
to toggle
avatars out
something
that
on
far, so y'all didn't see it.
and toggle it off when I'm done with it. And it worked really, really well.
I'm trying to fan
it's
myself with the schedule I docked to
so
my right
simple that
controller.
That's definitely one of the first things.
There
you
is
should
nothing in
definitely
my
try is,
hand.
like, try and just turn, you know, your badge on and off, because
Man spitting
how you do
anthrax.
is that's also going to set you up with how to make like simple animations. Again,
Tails avatar was just interacting.
BOX on YouTube has many tutorials that just use the toggling technique.
Oh, I didn't hear the name of the YouTuber he said, but I can rewatch this footage.
So give that a try. Tell me how it goes. The Avatar Help channel is there if you have any trouble with that. Let's see. Is the chair sitting animation on the locomotion layer? I'm looking to fix it on an avatar that clips horribly in chairs. I believe so, actually. Actually, no. No, that's actually in the action layer. That is in the action layer. It'll be, I believe, in like the bottom half of it, where that controls all of the various setting stuff. At least by default. Thoughts on using VRC Fury instead of the usual / manual process, especially for someone starting out? Yes, absolutely. I'm just
VRC
here
Fury.
to teach like the basic concepts so that you
Someone write that down.
theoretically don't have to use VRC Fury or like want to understand what VRC Fury is doing. I haven't used VRC Fury very much myself, so I can't speak about like what all it does. but I've heard so many good things about VRC Fury. I know what it's like looking to accomplish. Definitely check out VRC Fury. It's absolutely fantastic. We have, if I need to, here's a good question. If I need to set weight to 1, why doesn't Unity set that for me? Don't mind text. I don't know, man. I'm just a bird.
Great.
It's
Why
there's
doesn't Unity just
probably a
set that
reason
for me?
it, but I wish I knew. I really like it to just set to 1 by default. Maybe it does in a later version. Maybe we'll get to that version eventually, but for now, it
VRC
doesn't hurt to even
Fury.
just double
Thank you
check
for
it
writing that down.
if it ever does start weighted to 1.
I want to look it
But
up.
I don't know.
You
why
probably look it
it
up
doesn't
now,
set to 1
actually.
at first. I'm sorry. We have Rain Wolf. Thank you so much for posting one of the videos from Sitbox. They're fantastic. Check out their channel. They have
VRC
all sorts of
Fury
things.
is a set of non-destructive
We
tools
have a great
for
question from
VRChat chat avatars.
What is this for? And it's a
Okay, it makes clicking toggles
picture
easier.
that shows the animator component on an avatar, pointing to the controller slot for that, which is set to none. It should always be set to none because VRChat uses all the controllers that you provide to it in the avatar descriptor to make its own controller.
Love the universal
that
furry
combines all of
experience of
your controllers
variations
into
on
one.
I'm just a little guy.
You do want to leave
Yeah.
that empty because that is basically
No,
what
it's
VRChat
very
fills in.
common.
It doesn't do anything if you leave something in there, but you'll probably want to be a great way to make animations actually is to put the controller into that slot in the animator component on a duplicate. Pro tip, make sure that's on a duplicate because you can cause it to be, it can be a little bit buggy sometimes. Watch out for that. But just leave that empty, it's fine. VRChat fills that in for you. It's no big deal. Is there any way to transfer or use bone constraints from Blender in Unity? Is there something similar? I don't know. That's a little bit outside of the scope of what I'm looking to cover here. Sorry, Insane Dragon.
Coward. Side the scope.
I try and not touch Blender as much as possible. I know there are some constraints that you can use. They do have a performance impact, of course. So they are accounted for in, performance metrics.
Start acting like a university professor. I've met professors who would tell you how to make a nuclear bomb if you asked that question.
But I'm not able to really, I have no idea on how to do that. I'm sorry. Let's see. Ooh, this is a great question from Don Silveray. What would you say is the biggest hurdle you face routinely? For example, 3D modelers dread UV unwrapping, but it must be done, of course. What is your frequent hurdle in avatar creation?
I dread UV unwrapping.
As far as avatar animator controllers go, the tedium of setting up your animations, making sure that they all work correctly, making sure your logic works correctly. There isn't any one thing about it that is like the biggest hurdle, other than making sure that the transitions all work correctly, making sure that your animations are properly set up, all of that sort of thing. It can get a little bit tedious, I'm not gonna lie. But it's...
Damn, the guy next to me just went AFK.
It's the
his eyes went into
troubleshooting
dumbass mode and he started meditating.
is usually the biggest part of getting my controllers to work correctly.
Love UV fixing. It feels like sewing.
Let's see.
Nuclear arms should be covered under the First Amendment. That's
Another
that's several
question
flavors
here.
of wrong. No one should have
How
nuclear
to make the
weapons,
toggle
and
work.
the First
I
Amendment's
did
the free
notice
speech
something
one.
earlier, so
What?
check the VOD. I'll see if I can also answer your question in the channel.
And Ria, I'll see if I can send you 3D
Da-da-da.
models so I can get you to fix the UVs for
yeah,
me.
I can probably take one more. Let's see. Again, Rainwolf, thank you so much for linking to Sipbox for toggles. Yeah, there it is. If you're wondering how to use toggles, Rainwolf, thank you so much for posting the toggling props and accessories video from Sipbox. It's very quick.
I don't jump as
They're-
high in
they're
this
not
area.
Slow,
That's weird.
but that's why it's a video. You can just pause it in spots. So you can follow along.
Oh, get ready
at
for
your
a red
pace.
line.
Do we have any other questions?
I'm sitting on the floor in front of the
yes, thank
thing
you for noticing
now.
that I'm just being a bird. Ooh, do we have any more? A couple of little bit more technical ones that I might see about answering a little bit later tonight when I get out of VR, I think. But I think I've covered just about any questions that are left. So, oh, here we go. What advice do you give to standalone Quest users who have no access to a PC capable of running VRC, who want to include as much as they can while held within Quest constraints? That is a good question, because if your PC can't handle VRChat, it may still be able to handle Unity, which means that you can get, you can work on avatars.
No computer
to
you can
some
use Maya
extent. It
on?
might be
Damn.
a little bit slower just because if you can't run VRChat, Unity.
Just because you don't have it? Because I can get you Maya
Unity
if you
at
want.
its base is not.
I
too
have
far behind.
access.
But you
Or
should
is
be
it
able to
the
use,
computer's limitations?
But you should be able to use it to do everything that I've said here, because it's not too bad. It's you'll just have to be uploading in order to test a lot of the logic that you're working with, or testing it inside of Unity itself. But I think that's good. I think I covered just about everybody's questions. If I didn't answer your question, please ask it again. I'll see about answering more questions when I get out of VR.
Nice.
I do want to thank everybody for coming. Thank you so much. That's my time coming up, so thank you for watching. Thank you for attending Furality Silva. It's become a wonderful sunny day out here now. The rain is gone. Go enjoy the rest of the event. Check out Club Finn. Club Finn is so cool. I need everybody to appease the great and mighty Aviosaur of the dance floor. Check me out on Twitter. Check me out on Discord. Send me amazing things that you do with your avatars. I live to see all the things that people do. It's so cool. I'm going to jump around to a couple of the instances, but for now, have a great Furality Silva.
Alrighty. Alright, and he's just gonna hang out there for a second, but we're gonna see if we can watch him vanish. There he goes. Okay. I'm sorry, I sat down, so I'm low on the frame now. Alright, I think that was a pretty informative panel. I'll definitely be taking some of that knowledge with me. And let me turn off my earmuffs. Whoa, that got loud immediately. Ooh.
But you get somewhat close. The thing you have now is somewhat close.
Alrighty. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. I will see all of you guys at the... Your one laptop can barely run Discord. Oh god. Alright. I'm gonna run away. Alright, you guys. I we'll see all of you guys at the next panel, starting at, looks like 6:30 my time. I have the schedule pinned to my hand. Yeah, 6:30 my time is the next thing. I have to get back to the farmer's market. I'm still volunteering. Yeah, I will see all of you guys later. Thank you for showing up and watching the con with me. Talk to you guys later.